Hi everyone, this is Nick from Coin and Paper, and today we're going to look at stage one of the financial journey, and that's becoming a saver. So today in the saver category, we have review your financial snapshot. So this is actually the first part of the stage one saver. And so if we look at today's agenda, what we see here, for creating a financial snapshot, we're going to take a look at your income and expenses. So your income is simply all your money that's coming in, and your money could be coming in from different sources, like your job, so your paycheck, and your expenses is what's going out. So your expenses could be food expenses, could be your rent or mortgage, and everything else you spend during the month. Then we're going to take a look at how much savings you have. So that's all the cash you have on hand. Then take a look at your debts, which is everything that you owe. And then look at your net worth, which is really your assets. These are the things that you own, like your car or even your savings. And then minus your liabilities. So these are the things you owe, so mostly your debts. And from that, once you take your assets minus all your liabilities, you'll get your net worth. And so this is what you, basically, what you have total on hand, and sometimes it could be negative or it could be positive. So we'll take a look at that. But once you have all these things in place and you know what these are for you and you have them on a piece of paper or spreadsheet, then you have your financial snapshot, and this is a really good point for you to move on to the other steps. And the next step after this, after creating your financial snapshot, is creating a plan or a budget. So let's take a look at creating your financial snapshot. And what I'm going to use today is Microsoft Excel. So Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet. It's a spreadsheet program that I'm using here on a computer. So a spreadsheet is really helpful because it allows you to have these different cells, and in these different cells, it can really help with formulas, because you can type in formulas in these cells. So it's really easy to do math. And since it's a spreadsheet where there's rows and columns, it's really easy to put things up like a graph and organize it where you can see things clearly, especially numbers. Now, if you don't have a spreadsheet, you can also use a piece of paper and use a pen or pencil. And if you are not sure if you have a spreadsheet, you can get one free online. Google has spreadsheets, and there's other ones I'm sure out there that are for free. So you can take a look, and I definitely encourage you to try a spreadsheet because it's really easy, as you'll find, and very helpful for doing especially financial things. So to start off, and what we're going to do first is put in a cell somewhere. So this is a cell. We're going to put in income and expense. So this is what we're going to focus on right now, income and expenses. So as far as your income and expenses, the first thing you want to look at is your income. And your income, as we said, is how much you're taking in from different sources, and the main one may be your job. So we're going to say income. And actually, one thing to note about your income is there's a couple of different ways of looking at it. So one is looking at your gross income. And your gross income is really how much you get paid a year. And so when you get a job and you get a salary income, then you're going to say in your job, they're going to say in your job offer that you get paid, say, $50,000 a year. All right, so that's your annual income, and that's how much you get paid gross. And I say gross because what you actually get paid in your paycheck, as you know, is less than what your gross is. And that's because taxes are taken out and other things like insurance or money that gets contributed to your retirement account. So with that said, it's really important to know your net income. Your net income is what you actually have to spend. And your gross is definitely, you don't spend your gross, you spend your net each year. So as far as your net income, what you want to do is take a look at your paychecks, and then if you get paid twice a month, like I get paid twice a month, then you're going to take 2 times 12, so 2 times a month times 12 because that's how much how many times you get paid a year as far as paychecks. So that's 24. And if you look at your actual pay for in your paychecks, so that may be let's say maybe 1,500. It all depends, and that's 36,000. So, but for this example, I'm going to assume that the net is actually 40,000. And I like to format my cells, so I like to look at the numbers in dollars. So I'm going to just format it differently, and then I'm going to move these decimals. Actually, I just increased it. So actually I did something different there, but there we go. All right, so that's the gross income and then the net income. The other thing I want to take a look at is now your expenses. So your expenses vary, so you have to look at each one of your expenses and just write it down. So for example, the first one that may come to your head is your rent or your mortgage. So if you have a mortgage, so if you have a house, you have your monthly mortgage amount, and let's just say that's $1,100, or this could be your rent. And then another one, say if you have loans, let's say a car loan. So this is how much you actually pay per month. It's not how much you owe, but your monthly payments that are due. So the minimum amount or the amount that you actually pay. So say you pay $250 a month in your car loan, then you may have credit card. So this is your monthly payments. I'll just say credit card bills. And then something else, maybe school loans. So this is, again, your monthly payments. I would just say school loans could be $250. And so other thing you spend on a month is food. So let's say you spend $30 a day, or let's say $25 a day times 30 days in a month. So it's about $750. And miscellaneous things. And so we'll just say $200 in miscellaneous things. So it could be anything, parking or anything else that you may spend. So now we'll add this up. So I'm going to use the easy functions over here in the spreadsheet to sum all this. And so 2,850 is monthly expenses. So we'll do that. And I'm going to move this down. It's easy to look at. And I like to format things just to make it easy to look at. So it's 2,850 in expenses a month. But I'm going to do the same thing up here for monthly income. So we put in our annual net income. So I want to do the monthly net income. So I'm going to do equals 40,000 a year divided by 12. And so it's 3,333. So I'm going to insert a line in there to separate it and format it. And so what you have at the end of the month, we'll take your monthly income minus your monthly expenses, and that's $483 that you have extra. So net is really just the difference. And so since you're positive here, that means you have extra money that you could put towards savings. And so that's pretty good. So it's a good thing. And you can use that to save, or you can use it to help pay down these other things. But we'll look at that more in a second. So now this is your income and expenses. So the next thing to look at is, say, your savings. So we want to start building up to get the full financial snapshot. So we want to ultimately get to your net worth. And so what we want to look at is your savings. And so your savings can come from different sources. So this is what you have on hand. So if you look at your bank accounts, the first one, and the one you probably use the most, is your checking account. You also probably have a savings account. And so you have money in there too, hopefully. And so your checking account, we'll say, is you have $1,500 in there. Then your savings account, let's say you have $2,500, which I would say is a good amount. And let's say, because you can have savings in other places too. Think about cash. Maybe you have cash under your mattress. And so maybe cash you have on your mattress is $500. So total savings is, let's use this auto sum again, and so it's 4,500, and I'm going to format that. It makes it easier for me to look at it. And so there you go, $4,500 is what you have in savings. So another thing now to take a look at is your debts, the things that you owe. So your debts can come in the form of loans. So if we look at your mortgage, for example, that is a loan. It's a loan for a home. So the mortgage is what you, as far as debt, is what you owe, the rest of the amount that you owe on your house. So the amount to pay off, that you need to pay off in order to be free of your mortgage. So let's say you have $150,000 left on your mortgage. And I'm going to format that cell with dollars and move those decimals. So we look at the whole number here. And so we also have credit card bills. Let's do it in order like this. So we have the car loan. So what you owe on your car to pay it off, that's $5,000 left. And then your credit card bills. Okay, so your credit cards, and let's say you owe, to pay off your credit cards, you owe $2,000 left. And $2,000 would be able to pay off all your credit cards. And then your school loans, we'll say that's $15,000 to pay that off. And I'm not sure the average, but all of these numbers really depends on you. Everyone's situation is different. Some people owe more or less in these different categories. And then, so here's the four main things. And you can see we're paying these are the monthly payments for these items. And over here, these are the cumulative, or the payoff amounts. These are your debts. And so we'll add these up. And so the debt is $172,000. All right. So now the next thing we could take a look at is your net worth. So the net worth is really what you owe, and compare it to what you own. So another way to look at it is your assets minus your liabilities. So as far as assets, we really didn't talk about that yet, but savings are assets. So it's what you own. So this is what you own. You own your money, and so this is part of your assets. But the other things that you own that are included in your assets is your house. That's one thing. So let's add that, and I'm going to put right here hard assets. Because up here, these are assets as well. I would call them soft assets because they're financial. Well, hard assets is actually a physical thing. So a home is one thing. And to say with your home, let's look at the value of your home if you were to sell it. So let's say if you were to sell your home right now, the market value is $200,000. So that's how much your home is worth. That's how much your asset is worth. So it's good for you. The higher your home is worth, the more assets you have, the higher the value of your assets. And so you also have a car. And so right here, we have the car loan is $5,000, but let's just say that the car is worth, and to be realistic, a lot of times the car depreciates faster. So let's just say it's $4,000. It's possible that you owe more on your car as far as the loan versus how much your car is worth. And so let's say that car is worth $4,000. So if you were to sell your car, that's how much you could get for it right now. And with that, we're going to add those two things, hard assets, and so that's $204,000. And since this column here, these are hard assets, so I'm going to call these financial assets up here, and then hard assets, and we add those two things up, and that gives us our total assets. Total assets. So again, this is what we own, the things we own. And so if we look at now, this is what we owe. So total, so this debts are like liabilities. So I'm going to put that over here. That's what you owe. So total liabilities, and I'll say owe in parentheses. I'll try to spell that right. To get your net worth now, what you do is you subtract what you owe from what you own. And the difference is your net worth. So this is your equity too. So this is your net worth, so you're worth $36,500. So when people say they're millionaires, for me, I think you're a millionaire when your net worth is at least $1 million here. So in my opinion, it's not just when you owe or when you have $1 million in cash. It's because you can also have $2 million in liabilities. In that case, you'd be minus a couple million or 1 million. All right. So for me, you're a millionaire when your net worth is $1 million. So that's an interesting, different conversation. So this is a good financial snapshot. With this information, you'll have an understanding of your monthly income, your monthly expenses, how much you are able to save each month. You also get an idea of your net worth, so you have your debts and liabilities visible, you understand it, your financial assets, so your total assets. And so here you can begin to take control of your finances, and the next phase is when you start planning how to control your money. So that is creating a budget. But before we end for today, one other thing that's interesting is we can see here our total debts, or what we owe, is $172,000. So if we want to get an idea of how long it'll take to pay that off by continuing to earn how much we currently earn, what we could do is add up how much we pay per month on the debts that we have. So these are 4 debts: mortgage, car loan, credit card loans. So if we add how much we pay per month, that's our mortgage, the car loan, the credit card loan, and the school loan. So that's how much we pay per month. It's $1,900. And if we take that amount, and I'm going to move this down here. So if we equals that, and we divide it, actually I'm going to do it the other way. So this is how much we owe. So if we take that and divide it by how much we pay per month, that's going to give us the amount of time it's going to take to pay it off, the amount of months. So I'm going to change the formatting here to make it a number. So it'll take us 91 months to pay off our debt. So I'm going to say pay off debt, and this is in months. And if we want to look at that in years, we can take this divided by 12, and so you take that same formatting, put it here, and so that would be 8 years to pay off what we owe. But look at this. So we have our savings right now that's accumulating. So we can keep that savings and let it grow. But if we take that savings and actually use it each month to pay off our debt, let's see if it makes a difference in how long it takes to pay off our total debt. So now I'm going to add our savings into what we're paying, our payoff, and look. So it went from, if I hit back, went from 91 months to 72 months, or it went from 8 years to 6 years just by taking our savings and using it now to pay off our debts. So this is the beginning of planning and getting your finances under control, is actually getting your financial snapshot and all this information, so you would know your net income from looking at your paychecks. And as far as all the things you pay, this is something you know by just thinking about the things you normally pay during the month and then writing it down. But other things, you don't necessarily have to write it down. This information should be available to you through your different software. And one software I'm thinking about is simply going to your checking account, your bank statements online, and all of this should be kept track for you, because a lot of people use credit cards today or debit cards to pay loans or pay for things. All that information then is tracked for you through your statements. So that's a really good way for you to get all this information to see what you're spending. As far as other items that you pay with cash, one system to help you to keep track of that is just writing things down every time you pay for things with cash, so you can keep track and get an idea of like your miscellaneous items that you spend. So I hope this helped, and if you are able to use a spreadsheet, I highly recommend it, because it's a really nice way to keep track of these things, and you can save it and you can always come back to it later to see how you're doing over time. And it's really easy to format these things with the spreadsheet. So here, you can do things like this, and it's just a really good way to keep track. So hope learned something interesting, but this is definitely very important, and it's the beginning of getting your finances under control. So if you have any questions, email me or add any comments in the post, and stay tuned to the next video. Thank you.